So my name is Chené, and I have studied narrative therapy ideas, and since 2008 I was invited into diversity and inclusion workshops, and that's where my journey started of really discovering my own othering practices, my legacy of apartheid and how that has influenced how I see other people. And that has also invited me into a friendship with Lungi Molamu. And the two of us have been working together since 2008 already, when we first did workshops for one of the mining companies here in South Africa. And what we want to share with you is how we have translated narrative therapy ideas into the field of diversity and inclusion, and what is different than what you would find in other documentations around this work. So welcome. We're looking forward to this journey with you.
My name is Lungi Molamu, and I have been working with diversity and inclusion since our new democracy in South Africa, and that was 1999. And I've started working with Chené in 2008. So for me, the whole issue of ideas in narrative has certainly shifted my understanding of how to deal with diversity and inclusion. And we will explain those. I'm just wetting your taste buds, but listen, because there's going to be more.
So when we met in 2008, we stayed at exotic places in this huge change initiative at the mining company. And the first place I remember where Mamlungi and I really started engaging was the place called Bombanani. And I remember there were little sherry in the rooms. It was fancy rooms, that sherry for us there. And up until that point in my own life, I grew up in apartheid, and because of apartheid, this segregation and separation is, for me, still in our neighborhoods and still in our townships. We are still separate in some places in South Africa, and all of a sudden, I now have this black woman. I think I even drove with you to this place. And then she likes sherry too, and she likes coffee too, and she's also a coffee snob. And she also likes red wine, and those simple things that we, because of the stereotyping and because of the way that we have been trained about the other, surprises us when we find them. And so many other things surprised me, but those are the initial breaking down of unothering of the other, and realizing there's a human being there, and you also like things that I like, and that has become, then it became a ritual. Hey, whenever we would go to these places that the GPS won't even know about, there'll always be a bottle of red wine in the boot, so that we can celebrate once we finally get there.
Yes, those were really for me moments that I won't forget, because I remember I had my bottle of wine in my suitcase, but I was still sussing up this white woman and trying to see whether it's not going to judge me. Why bring, when we're supposed to work, why bring something to drink? But when the sherry finished, and then she said, I have a drink. And I said, no, I also have a drink.
You are the best one with all of those fancy labels on it.
It was just excitement, because we just we realized immediately that we were sharing some passion. And of course, after that, everything was fine. I had done diversity work since 1999. But the difference with working with narratives, and I now think about the work that I've done. It's the way in which some of the very difficult topics that we have in diversity and inclusion, I was able to feel lighter. And what created that conducive environment was the dignifying practices, because I think that those, in a way, create an environment where people don't feel labeled and people don't feel also judged. So for me, that was the best gift. And of course, working with practitioners in narrative work, you find that because we all have embraced it, we feel comfortable with one another.
We obviously hope and dream to train people in reauthoring diversity and inclusion work. Um, we love the work that we do. We get so much energy from it, and every time we learn so much. My hopes and dreams here, for me, it feels like the world of the other and how the other is created and sustained is such a huge part of our existence on this planet. And if we could shift something around this, uh, the world will shift. I think also our relationship to the earth will shift. Because I think our relationship with one another and the earth are so connected. Um, and so my hope and dreams for this online program is that you would find something that you could try out that would shift something fundamentally in your relationship to the earth.
I think my colleague here has touched on all uh, the parts that we intend doing. My only wish for me is that um, in doing this work, the practices are just so important. And so, what it demands of a person is that we should have that capacity of learning and unlearning, because some of these practices, for them to have that capacity of shifting people's minds and ideas, is that one has to recognize the, the work that one has to do for themselves. And that means that there's a lot of unlearning and learning. And we will be able to take you with us and showing you in the practices how that is possible.